Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another analysis of some more Apocrypha Necromunda from the Warhammer Communities page. So this week, previous week actually, they released Nexus of Violence, which is the latest update to the Apocrypha Necromunda rules. And in case you're unfamiliar with what those are, basically once a month the Warhammer community releases little snippets of new rules and some new additions that you can add to your campaigns of Necromunda. In the past, we've seen things like vehicle crews for House Cawdor Gangs. We've looked at new outcast archetypes such as mutations, and in this one we're taking a look at the Nexus of Violence. Now this one's actually kind of interesting because it gives us two things in this. First of all, it gives us a brand new Article of Faith that Cawdor players can actually use for their gangs, and the second thing it also does, it gives us a brand new scenario that takes place in the Nexus, which is the massive shipping yards of Necromunda. So in this video we'll be talking about both of those things, and let's go ahead and get started with it right now. Alright, so as you can see here, I downloaded this PDF from the Warhammer Community Page. It's absolutely free. As you can see here, they give you a little bit more about background information about the lore of the Nexus, which is the huge shipping containers that are there. And this one actually is supposed to be a type of narrative scenario that's fought between Orlok as well as House Cawdor. So you could probably, if you want to, you can read the lore about that if you want to. But this case, though, what I'm going to be reading, though, is the brand new rules on this one. So the designer commentary reads that Paths of Faith, it says, presented below are the rules for the Path of the Prophet, a new path for Cawdor Articles of Faith rules, as described in Necromunda House of Faith. These rules allow players to recreate the action detailed in the Nexus of Violence, and if the arbitrator wishes, these new rules may be included in their campaign. Now, if I was an arbitrator, what I would use this for basically is you're planning on doing the Eranthian Succession. The Vaults of Timnos, for example, is worth this period of time where this might actually work out because that's where the Prophet pops up, so you could use it in your Eranthian Succession campaigns. Or if your campaign takes place after the fact, you could also do that as well. So let's go talk about what it reads here. It says, the path of the Prophet is the utter devotion to the word of the Prophet and the great pilgrimage which he leads. The followers see this path as one true expression of the redemption and the Prophet himself as ordained by the God Emperor to lead all who claim devotion to the Imperial Creed. During the Eranthian Succession, millions of faithful would flock to the banner of the Prophet until they dominated the fractured House of Cawdor in their relentless quest to convert or destroy all who oppose their Holy Master. Now, when generating faith dice, if your crew outnumbers your opponent's crew, only counting fighters currently on the battlefield that are not seriously injured or broken, roll an additional number of d6s equal to the number of fighters your crew outnumbers your opponent's crew by. Now, that could actually be a really good benefit to you. Cawdor gangs are usually outnumbering their enemies in every scenario by at least 2. The reason why is because the Devout Masses special rule that Cawdor gangs get to enjoy. They always get to deploy one additional ganger than normal from the normal deployment rules, as well as up to D3 new juvie level fighters as well. I believe they're called bone pickers is what they're called. So they're able to actually have up to 4 players max over the top. So that'd be kind of good for you to generate additional faith dice if you want to. Now it says here the following article faiths can only be performed by members of House Cawdor Gang that follows the path of the Prophet. So the first one is called Look Upon the Face of the Prophet, lest he blind you with his glory. You have to pass a threshold test of 5+. It says all other fighters, both friend and foe within 12 inches of the fighter invoke this article of faith, change their facing so their vision arcs are facing directly away from the invoking fighter. This could actually be good to use in case one of your fighters gets bum rushed by multiple fighters, or they're being shot at by multiple fighters. You could use this kind of make that go away. The only problem though is that be careful because your friendly fighters will also fall victim to this. Another article of faith is called, by his word shall you be redeemed, and in his name shall you serve. The invoking fighter targets enemy fighter that are engaged with. The target fighter must make a willpower test. If they fail, they become subject to the insane condition, which is kind of nice, kind of a good way to kind of defend one of your fighters who are vulnerable. And that's on a threshold of 8+. Next one's called Look to the Light of the Prophet. Whilst the article of faith is in effect, all fighters, both friend and foe within 12 inches of the invoking fighter, are unaffected by the visibility X rule, so +3 on that one, which could be really good, especially if you're out in the Ash Waste, because visibility is always a huge problem on that one. You could definitely use this for like your Cawdor fighters who might be armed with heavy weapons like heavy crossbows, or maybe fighters who are using like long rifles, for example. That could really help you out, kind of mitigate that. And it says, look not for the counsel of false masters. While this article of faith is in effect, all enemy fighters within 12 inches of the invoking fighter cannot benefit from group activations or the gang hierarchy X special rule. That's on a 7+. I'm not really sure how you could use this to mess up with gang hierarchy. I suppose if you wanted to do something, okay, I guess you can see like how you can do that. So for example, champions and leaders can lend their cool and willpower tests in some cases to their fighters. So that could remove that, which is kind of nice, make enemies a little bit more psychologically affected by that. Also, nice thing about this, not having group activations within 12 inches is also kind kind of nice too. So that part is kind of cool. So you can really mess up your enemy's game plan, especially if you're in the clinch in close combat with your opponents. Our next article of faith is called "Let Those Who Fear Fear Not, and Those Who Fear Not No Fear." All broken fighters, both friend and foe, within 12 inches of the invoking fighter immediately rally. All other fighters, both friend and foe, must take a nerve test. So that's on a 6+. That one could actually kind of bite you if you're not careful. So make sure that you're doing it in a situation where you have a fighter maybe by themselves, or if the fighter is basically broken themselves, or what the case may be, it kind of help you out with that and kind of, disrupt your enemy's game plan. And then we have "Empty are the hands of the faithless." While this article of faith is in effect, enemy fighters count as being unarmed when making close combat attacks against the evoking fighter. That's on a 4+. Another really handy close combat one, so this is kind of nice. So far from this, when I look at the Path to Profit, what I'm noticing is that this one is actually really good for those gangs who are involved in close combat type situations or in close quarters battle. That can really help you out the most with that, especially since Cawdor fighters are not really known for their psychology stats. They're kind of weak sauce that way. Maybe only a little bit better than outcast gangs. This could really help you out with your fighters, especially if you have a lot of juvie fighters in your gang. This could definitely help you out with that as well. I really like this look to the light of the Prophet rule, because the Cawdor gangs have those heavy crossbows as well as axes and long rifles, and that could really help you out, especially if you're fighting in pitch black conditions or you're fighting out in the ash waste. So I literally like that rule the most out of all of these. Alright, so now that we're done talking about the Articles of Faith, the Path to Profit, let's go and talk about the container or canyon run scenario. Now this one's actually kind of nice because this one actually is supposed to take place in a container yard, like a shipping yard on Necromunda's Nexus, which is the huge shipping container area that Necromunda uses to transport most of its goods and things. So it's actually kind of neat. The reason why is because it's on a rolling rolls battlefield and all of your fighters must be mounted, so that part is kind of nice as well. Looks like it plays on a 4x4 table. You have up to 10 fighters that you can custom select for this one as well. It says the attacker deploys their starting crew within 6 inches on one of the battlefield edges. The defender then deploys their starting crew within 36 inches of the opposite table edge. You're allowed to have gang tactics on this one as well. It ends at the 6th round, or any round where there's no more enemy models left on the battlefield. Looks like the rewards on this one is 2d6 times 10 credits, D3 experience point for the gang leader, and the gang also earns D3 reputation as well. Now what's neat about this one is that it says this rolling road scenario with impassable sides and follows all the rules for rolling roads. The leading edge of the battlefield is the defender's deployment area. Well, now what I like about this one is this. It says hard left. After the rolling roads phase each round after the first, both players roll a d6. If the attacker rolls a 6, the leading edge rotates clockwise, meaning the battlefield sides will become the leading edge and the trailing edge. If the defender rolls a 6, the leading edge rotates anti-clockwise, and both players roll a 6, then the leading edge and trailing edge swap. So what I like about this is it kind of creates that idea that you're playing in a container maze, like a container yard, with lots of twists and turns and dead ends and that kind of thing. So that might be a really cool way in order to actually create that illusion when you're playing in the container yards, which is kind of nice. And then we have another rule that's called Escape the Nexus. It says before the step 1 of the rolling roads phase of any round after the first, any of the attacker's models within 1 inch of the leading edge may be removed from the battlefield. They do not count as having gone out of action for the purposes of determining battle checks, but take no further in the battlefield. So that part is kind of nice. So in the case things are going badly for you, you can actually escape the battlefield and try to preserve some of your losses in that situation, which is also kind of nice too. Now as you can see here, this is of course is a narrative campaign. It's designed to be so, and it says if the players wish, they may use this scenario to represent the evasion of the Nexus by the forces of the Prophet and the defense of red roadkill Cinderjacks Orlocks. In order to do this, make the following changes. The defending gang should be an Orlock gang. The attacking gang should be a Cawdor gang dedicated to the Path of Prophet. Both gangs should only include vehicles, fighters, transporter vehicles, or fighters with the mounted condition. So if you're looking for another way to add a narrative scenario to your campaign, this would be one nice way to do so. Or if you just want to do something interesting, a little bit differently with the road rules, this could actually be really cool as well. All in all, I think this is a really neat supplement. After all, it is available to download for free from the Warhammer Community Page. I highly suggest you do so. It's nice about these Apocrypha Necromunda rules. They always give you new updates and new things you can use in your campaigns, which I always find really useful. And the best part about it, in my opinion, is that it's free because I am a cheapskate. So there you guys have it. This is our review of the Apocrypha Necromunda rules, Nexus of Violence. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blog.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this, you guys. I will catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.